With the NFL draft creeping up, the Steelers, man, they got a lot of positions they got to address and focus on: tackle, corner, linebacker,
the obvious.
tackle. Yeah,
the obvious, pretty much. But one position that is known for the Steelers to select specifically is obviously the wide receiver position.
Right, and we do need extra bodies. We need depth. We need someone in the slot. We need firepower. We need to add more weapons to Kenny Pickett's arsenal. Right, I agree with all those takes. But what is the sweet spot for the Steelers to take a wide receiver? Where specifically in the draft could the Steelers take a wide receiver? Now, typically in recent history, the Steelers love to take receivers day 2. They've done it many times, man. You guys already know the list. Juju, Claypool, Washington, Deontay,
Emmanuel Sanders.
Right. I mean, the list goes on. And they've had great success with all those, man. You can't really hammer on any of those guys being a bad pick for the Steelers, right? But I don't think day 2 or even day 1 is a smart option for the Steelers to take a wide receiver, only because we have so many positions we got to take over wide receiver. To take a wide receiver over any of those other positions is just, it's not in favor. It's not good. I understand why they would do it. It's just not a good strategy in my book. I think if you want to wait till late day 2, you could do that, okay? You could do that. Day 3 is more so the sweet spot. And knowing the Steelers...
Now, I want to cut you off right there. For day 1 or day 2, it could very well be best player available for them.
Right.
But that's if those players, the wide receivers, are on their board. We don't know what's going to be on their board.
Right.
And when it comes to best player available, it could be a position of need. I just want to throw that out there.
You're very correct. However, if it is receiver, let's talk about some of the options, man. If they want to go day 1, unlikely, but... maybe day 2, maybe even at 32 with that 32nd pick. They could go a Jackson Smith and Jingbo, right? His brother already plays for the Pirates. Steelers love the bloodlines, so why not bring him into the Steel City to pair with his brother in a different sport?
And I will say, when it comes to the top wide receivers for the Steelers to show at least some interest in or attend a pro days, he's like the only one, at least that comes to my mind right now.
Because they went to Ohio State Pro Day, but they went there to look at him. They're doing their due diligence. But they clearly went to Ohio State to look at mostly the tackles, the top 2, Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
They're not going to go there just for Jackson.
Right. However, obviously a popular name, the most popular name in Steelers Nation, has been circulating around for many months now before the season even ended. Hell, actually, right after Kenny Pickett was drafted, Jordan Addison.
Yeah, let's face it.
Now, he left Pitt to go to USC. Injuries kind of stumbled his only there, but...
his only year there, but he still had a productive year despite the injuries. He's a very productive wide receiver, don't get us wrong.
And obviously, the Kenny Pickett connection is there. We understand that. We do.
And Addison, no matter where he goes, whether that's to Steel City or wherever, right, he's going to be a stud.
He is. And listen, him at 32 is a lot more reasonable. I still would rather take another position over it, but I would understand the selection. And I wouldn't be entirely too disappointed. Addison's going to be great. And pairing him with Kenny Pickett, we already know the connection is there. Kenny Pickett even said, man, wherever I go, I'm going to pound the table to get my boy there.
And something tells me that when it comes to 32, if the Steelers keep that pick, because come draft day or even before draft day, some talks could happen.
Anything
we
could
don't
happen.
know.
Anything could happen. Options are on the table. But yeah, Addison could be a top option there. He could be on top of their draft boards. I know they didn't go to his pro day, but why would they have to when they scouted the guy for 3-4 years at Pitt?
Now, unless it's best player available, I wouldn't take a wide receiver over positions of need that you have to focus on.
No.
I don't know how many times we have to say it.
Even if a Zay Flowers or Josh Downs or someone like that falls, right? They're going to be great receivers as well. It's just not worthy to take a receiver so early. I know we need firepower. I know we need extra bodies. We need someone in the slot. We need someone for Kenny. I get that. But we just have many positions to address. And I do like our track record at receiver to wait on receiver. And there's many guys the Steelers have shown interest in late day 2, early day 3 to select.
Exactly, and I want to throw this out there as well. They've shown more interest in the later day 3 to mid-round wide receivers.
Yes.
They've shown more interest and had visits with them than the earlier wide receivers.
And that's very telling. And the Steelers aren't shy to tell you where or when they're going a certain position. And they have definitely scouted some very good names. Xavier Hutchinson at Iowa State. I think they went to their pro day.
Yes. And Tomlin was looking real close at Xavier Hutchinson.
Yep.
And he's a nice sleeper. He does have some drop issues. That's one of my only gripes with him.
Yeah.
I feel like he needs to clean up the drops because
But
we already have issues with those.
But the thing with him is he absolutely brings that size factor we lack
and the
now.
speed and the deep threat ability.
But to add on that, Jaden Reed is a great option from Michigan State. He's a little more of a prime slot guy, 5'11", 178, I think.
But when it comes to that size, I mean, he just fits to what the Steelers have always looked at.
He's the Steelers prototype of wide receiver.
Yeah.
He is. He's starting the slot, starting special teams as a return specialist. He has great success there. I think he'd be a great option early day 3. I think he'd be tremendous, as well as a Jonathan Mingo. He'd bring the size factor as well, along with the speed, the deep threat ability. He loves the block. Ole Miss has a good history of wide receivers coming out of that school.
And they even looked at Charlie Jones out of Purdue, who I feel like is a big sleeper in the mid-rounds.
And he actually had a very good game against Joey Porter when they faced Penn State.
Yes, he did.
He had a very breakout game.
If you're asking me, I think Charlie Jones has one of the more underrated hands in this draft class.
I agree. I completely agree. Another guy that could be looking at is Parker Washington from Penn State. There's a lot of talent coming out of Penn State, but Parker Washington's underrated at wide receiver as well. So there's options there that they're looking at around that selection, around maybe late day 2, but most likely early day 3. We just feel like that's more so the sweet spot. Another guy I want to throw out there is A.T. Perry. I think he's going to be a tremendous target in the NFL.
Course.
His size and his speed and his hands and his yak ability is very attractive to me. I think it'd be very attractive to the Steelers as well. And someone I would, if he falls to the 4th round, man, it's very hard to pass on him.
It really would be.
He pretty much brings everything that Claypool brought and that we lack now because we lost Claypool.
And another guy that they've also shown interest in is Bryce Ford Wheaton. He's out of West Virginia.
Yep.
So that's another name that they brought in. I'm not too familiar with him. I have to do more research on him, I'm going to be honest. But you get the point. You get the discussion that we're trying to throw out there. They're looking more at late day 3 options to mid-round options.
Yeah. But they're also keeping their options on the table for any specific type of receiver they're looking for, whether that's adding size back, along with speed and the yak ability and the blocking ability. But they're also looking at guys to potentially come in to help with that return factor as well. We don't have a true return guy. Gunnar Olszewski has the job back for now, but are the Steelers really going to trust him entirely to just not select someone for competition while also still being a target in the slot?
Exactly.
A guy
and you look at the Steelers depth chart. I mean, the obvious starters we have is Deontay Johnson, who I've been seeing some trade discussions on social media. I understand it. I get it. I just don't think it's going to happen this year. Because if we were to get rid of him, wouldn't it be like a $15 million dead cap hit for this year?
Look, I don't know how many times we have to say it. Trading Deontay is not an option. If it was due to a lesser dead cap hit, surely. But one, the Steelers aren't going to do that because they just signed him to an extension. They're going to have a lot of dead cap if they do trade him or cut him. But also, why would you want to get rid of a top target for Kenny Pickett in his 2nd year? Now, could we replace Deontay? Probably. I mean, Jesus Christ, any wide receiver for the Steelers is replaceable. Let's be real here. You're absolutely right.
It took us no time to replace Antonio freaking Brown.
I'm not opposed to trading Deontay. In fact, I really entertain the offers. I just know the Steelers aren't going to do it. And in ways, nor should we, because you can't lose targets for Kenny, and we have so much dead cap that we would take for trading or cutting him.
And despite people's feelings of Deontay Johnson, if he's not a true number 1 wide receiver and his drop issues, and he didn't get one single touchdown last year. I understand that.
Right.
All that is on Johnson. It is. He still needs to work on that shit, especially with the contract that we gave him.
Yeah, he's coming into his 5th year, and he's still having these recurring issues that we were talking about his 2nd or 3rd
Listen,
year.
we understand. He's a headache. I mean, he pisses us off every now and then.
Yeah.
Especially when he runs back every time he gets a freaking catch, but he's a top target for Kenny Pickett. I don't think it's an option, at least this year, to get rid of him when you're still trying to make sure Kenny succeeds under this system.
No, they're not going to get rid of targets, and they're not going to take the dead cap effect by trading him.
So, yeah, Deontay Johnson, obviously, George Pickens, yes.
You got Calvin Austin, you got Anthony Miller, you got Gunnar Olszewski. That's pretty much it in terms of the wide receiver room.
Yeah, when you look at the room currently, all you really need is a depth guy / return specialist that has the upside to work in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, that could be anyone from a size factor to the speed factor to the return ability. I mean, they're keeping their eyes on any type of receiver that they want to add to this offense. But one thing's for sure, they're going to take a receiver in the draft. A matter of where is the big question. We think the 3rd round or the day 3 is more so the sweet spot. Maybe late 3rd round, but probably day 3 is more so what they're looking for. And those are guys they've really looked into mostly. And honestly, wherever way they go, wherever guy they want to select, I trust the Steelers to select a receiver and get a stud out of it.
Yes.
It's just their resume. It's just their history. And you can't fault it. You can't dislike it. You can't distrust it.
I do want to say this. If they select receiver early, am I going to be upset? No, I'm not.
No.
Especially if it comes to it possibly being best player available.
And honestly, if they do take a receiver early over a position, all I'm going to tell myself is let's let it play out. Let's see what happens. So if they do select Addison at 32 or another receiver somewhere, and you might be a little furious initially, myself included, not going to lie, you got to just remember, let it play out and let's see what they do with the remaining picks.
Exactly.
If they don't address the other selections that they passed on to select Addison, then you can be a little bit more upset. But if they do take a receiver earlier than we all anticipate, let's just see how it plays out. Let's just trust the process, I suppose.
Yes.
But no doubt Steelers are going to take a receiver in the draft class. We just got to wonder where it's going to be. But telling about who they've been interested in, who they brought in for visits, who they've talked to, it seems like it's kind of obvious where they're targeting.
It's very telling.
But we could be wrong on that. The Steelers could definitely be throwing a smoke screen, or they could surprise us entirely. So, we'll see what the Steelers do. We'll see if the Steelers bring in any extra guys as the draft season continues to creep up, as we're just a couple short weeks away. But the wide receiver room, they're going to add to it. They're going to get extra bodies for Pickett. I'm excited to see who they do add. Who do you guys think they should add? If we didn't name any guys that you're looking forward to or that you guys are looking at, definitely put it in the comments. If there's any other guys you want to name, put it in the comments. Interested to hear any names and your guys' thoughts about the certain position. But
of course,
receiver in the draft for the Steelers, it's imminent. Where? We'll see. Let us know your guys' thoughts and your opinions down below. See you in the next one.
And like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Peace!